This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, the high-flying Auckland couple who blagged their way through a checkpoint out of Auckland and flew to the South Island have come forward. And Cromwell whānau are bringing up their tamariki fully bilingual in Te Reo Māori and English. And an Ashburton man is playing fairy godmother to a mother duck in her brood, trying to guide them to a more suitable habitat. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi o te ahi nei. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. The Auckland couple who sparked outrage after flouting lockdown rules and flying to Wanaka have broken their silence, saying their actions were inexcusable. Interim name suppression has lapsed for 35-year-old William Willis and 26-year-old Hannah Rawnsley. Police say the pair crossed the Level 4 border from Auckland using essential worker exemptions before driving to Hamilton Airport on Thursday. The couple took a commercial flight to Queenstown via Wellington, then rented a vehicle and drove to Wanaka, where it's understood they stayed in their holiday home. Police were notified via the COVID-19 compliance reporting tool online and found the pair on Saturday afternoon. William Willis is the son of Auckland District Court Judge Mary Beth Sharp, while Hannah Rawnsley is due to be investigated by the Law Society. The Waimea Landscape Preservation Society is set to continue seeking to overturn a resource consent granted to build a bridge across the Mataura River. Despite having a request for legal aid being turned down, the Society is appealing a resource consent given to the Gore District Council to build a cable stay bridge across the river. The bridge would allow pedestrians and cyclists to cross and would also carry water pipes beneath. It is expected the appeal against the bridge could cost up to $100,000. The Society's members plan to fund it where they can and will also fundraise with the community hope of support. School children and kapahaka groups across the country sang and performed Māori songs at midday yesterday in a coordinated celebration of the Māori language. One of the schools taking part was Grants Braes School in Dunedin.
Yesterday at midday was the first time that both the junior and senior kapahaka groups from Grants Braes School performed a waiata together to celebrate the nationwide Māori moment.
So we sang quite a few of our waiata, and what was really special was the Taina group and the Tuakana group all sang the same song, which is the first time that we've put them both together, and it was quite a special moment for our kia ora.
The Māori moment is designed to encourage all New Zealanders to stop and take a moment to celebrate Te Reo at midday on the Tuesday of Māori Language Week. Grants Braes School Principal Gareth Taylor says the event has its origins in a petition of 30,000 signatures gathered almost 50 years ago.
In 1972, after a big hikoi, a petition was presented to the government of the time to recognise Te Reo Māori as a language within our schools.
And Taylor says the teaching staff at the school are always on the lookout for new ways to incorporate the Māori language into their work or mahi.
So within our school, we already look at lots of ways that we can incorporate Te Reo into our classroom programs. It's really quite exciting. We have kapahaka every week and every child is involved in that.
Grants Braes School is also looking forward to putting on a kapahaka performance at this year's Polyfest. The event is set for mid-October if COVID-19 alert levels drop down to level 1. In Dunedin, The South Today.
Next year's Gibson Summer Concert has been pushed back to March due to uncertainties caused by COVID-19. Organisers say the concert at Gibston Valley Winery is set to be held on the 26th of March. It will be the last of the three-stop tour, which includes Taupō and Whitianga 2 weeks earlier. Organisers say they're now in the final stages of securing artists, with more details as to who will be performing released soon. This year's concert in January featured only New Zealand artists due to the global pandemic. A mother duck and her brood of ducklings have tried to set up a home in an Ashburton garden, but the garden's owner would rather the ducks stay in a nearby park, which could provide a more suitable habitat for them.
Cyril Keane of Ashburton has had a mother duck set up in his garden with her brood of what were originally more than a dozen ducklings.
To have 13 little ones, it's unbelievable. And look how she's sitting and looking at them. It's unbelievable.
Keane used a broom to gently shoo the ducks back to the nearby Braybrook Pond, but to no avail.
A half an hour later, my wife came in and said, "She's back here again." But unfortunately, she'd lost 5 in that time.
Keane says he's become a bit concerned for the welfare of the ducklings.
I just don't know what to do, if she wants to make a home here or what. But I just want to know what I should do about them.
The SPCA says if people do not want ducks to stay on their property, they shouldn't feed them, and they should also remove any food which may be attracting them. Many types of ducks enjoy grazing on short grass, so allowing grass to grow longer or reducing the area of lawns, especially around ponds or pools, may make the property less appealing to ducks. Ducks may also be nesting this time of year, and people are asked to avoid moving ducks that are incubating eggs, as this is likely to cause animal welfare issues. In Ashburton, The South Today.
Still to come on The South Today, we hear from Ngāi Tahu Holdings Chief Executive about how the organisation's companies are handling COVID-19. Ka kitea kune.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Sharpen up! My mate John sharpened his pencil this weekend. He's taken 19% off lamp and coffee tables and a whopping 50% off Optima beds. Plus there's tons more deals in store. So sharp, you'll cut yourself. No one beats John on price. Sharpen up! This weekend only at John's Furniture Warehouse, Stafford Street.
Where did you get that furniture from? Stafford Street. And my mate John.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hoki mai anō, welcome back. Nationwide shutdowns for COVID-19 have affected all sectors of the country. South Island iwi Ngāi Tahu have been hit hard. Ngāi Tahu Holdings Chief Executive Mike Pohio talks via Zoom with Daryl Baser about how the organisation's companies are handling COVID-19.
Kia ora, Mike. Kia te mihi koe.
Kei te pai e hoa.
Ka pai. So Aotearoa has survived 2 nationwide lockdowns due to COVID. How has Ngāi Tahu Holdings survived through this?
In the first one, it was just absolutely devastating from a business perspective, but also from a personal perspective across all of our kaimahi, and of course across the whole of the country. So dealing in the first instance with lockdown, allowing kaimahi to deal with their urgent matters of life, children, how it is that they get groceries, that sort of thing. So that was obviously the first thing that needed to happen. And at the same time, 2 of our businesses were most substantially affected, was seafood and tourism. So revenue stopped, logistics stopped, and it was a time to reformulate. In the case of seafoods, we were able to resurrect supply of product, live product, particularly our live quota to China, and that has held up marvellously well across the course of the last, 15 months since the first lockdown. And but that has been out of the sheer determination and hand-to-mouth work that's needed to be done, with less flights domestically and internationally, challenges at the border. So that's been an outstanding rebound. In the case of tourism, of course, we have just absolutely been constricted to the domestic market. When the first lockdown happened, of course, we didn't know how long we would be in lockdown for. When we came out of lockdown, what level 3 or level 2, or when would we get to level 1? So we took a big decision to peel right back down to a core in all of our tourism activities. So we went from 348 staff down to 39. But I am very pleased to say that across the course of the last 15 months, that number has now grown back to over 100. And we'll continue to add staff into those operations, subject to us being out of lockdown across the country, and especially for Auckland to be out of lockdown.
Have the government subsidies helped the businesses across the Ngāi Tahu stable?
Yes, and a decision was made at the time for reaching out and applying for subsidies. And in total, we applied for and secured 3.1 million. And that was very beneficial for us to pass wages and salaries onto staff and therefore into the local community, some of which are in those smaller locations like Takapo, like Friends Joseph, like Glenorchy, and but what we have done is that we have repaid those wage subsidies back for all of our 100% owned businesses. For those joint ventures that we have, there's shared decision making, and so those wage subsidies have not been repaid, but we have, like I say, repaid 2.4 million back, recognising that our business and our portfolio is relatively stable now. In the most recent lockdown, it is only those businesses that have been exposed to the perils, I guess, of lockdown, the joint ventures that have applied for new wage subsidy.
A lot of the interests are within a few of them are within the tourism realm.
Primary sector, yes.
Yeah, how hard hit were they with COVID?
Our revenues dropped to zero when lockdown happened, and we had 1 million customers visiting all of our sites. So what that's gone to now is we will probably be around 200,000 visitations across our sites this year. So numbers divide by 5. Like I say, we have gone through that very challenging, very difficult time of reducing down to 39 staff across those attractions, but thankfully we have had an outstanding response from domestic customers that's seen us grow back to over 100 staff.
So most of Aotearoa is in COVID level, at a reduced level. How's that helping and what's the prognosis going forward?
So in level 2, of course, we now have the ability in Te Waipounamu or the South Island to operate, but the customer base is clearly very much driven by Auckland. So Queenstown at the moment, for example, is very quiet. We have days where there are 0 customers on our attractions, whereas for Shotover, I think we've had highs of over 400 customers a day, and that's during this COVID period when Auckland's open and legitimately flying around the countryside. So it's a substantial impact on our businesses when we have the likes of level 4 or level 3, not just in the South Island, but of course in this case Auckland being level 4 is detrimental to our tourism businesses.
So recovery in progress.
There is great hope from the fact that some of our core businesses and our industries continue to operate and provide that necessary cash flow.
Ngāi Tahu Holdings Chief Executive Mike Pohio, thanks for your time.
Kia ora.
The longer version of that interview will be available online. After the break on the South Today, some tourist hotspots in the South are busier than ever thanks to Kiwis exploring their backyard, and we take a look at the weather.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Sharpen up! My mate John sharpened his pencil this weekend. So sharp, you'll cut yourself. No one beats John on price. This weekend only at...
And my mate John.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Hoki mai anō, welcome back. While closed borders are keeping overseas tourists away, some tourist hotspots in the south are actually busier than ever thanks to Kiwis exploring their own backyard. The Otago Conservation Board has released figures showing that visitor numbers in the south have been a mixed bag. While the number of visitors to Milford Sound have dropped by 3/4, other areas are now bustling. Tourist numbers are so high in Stewart Island that the main hotel is often preparing more than 180 meals over a single night. Cyclists on the Otago Central Rail Trail increased by almost 1/4, with one hotelier describing last summer as being unprecedented in terms of tourist numbers. And time now for a look at tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Barry.
Hello, Sophie.
Good evening.
60 women in the south have been contacted after mammograms between May 2020 and May 21 required a review, so that's a little bit concerning. Talking of tourists, the reaction to the Auckland couple breaching lockdown is a product of a campaign of fear, causing people to lose their humanity. Dunedin psychiatrist says. So that's an interesting take on that, but because certainly there was an outpouring of anger amongst the community about that incident, so we've got somebody analysing that for us. 17.5 million announced for southern conservation projects, and that funding will preserve traditional knowledge for future generations, according to somebody we spoke to there. Another concerning story, the most dangerous phase of the pandemic could still be ahead of us for New Zealand, and opening up even with high COVID-19 vaccination rates could lead to thousands of deaths, an expert explains. So have a look at that story, it's a little chilling. And another bad news story, if you like, two ways of looking at it. All Black halfback Aaron Smith's year is deviating off the script he envisaged, and unless his, of course he missed the early part of the Test Championship because he stayed home for the birth of his second child, and if his second child arrives earlier than scheduled, he is unlikely to play again for the All Blacks this season. It's all about quarantine and getting over there and getting back and things like that. The good news about that story is that he gets to spend some time playing NPC rugby and also spending it with his family.
Nice.
Yes.
Alrighty, thank you, Barry. And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, cranes and workers erecting scaffolding above Dunedin's railway station. Looking at the situation, some showers on eastern coast today, but dry elsewhere with cold temperatures and southerly winds. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, partial cloud and 16 degrees for Greymouth and Westport. To the northeast, cloudy here with 13 degrees in Nelson and 12 in Blenheim. To Canterbury, showers and 10 degrees in Kaikoura, partial cloud and 12 degrees for Otatahi, and scattered showers and 11 degrees for Ashburton. To the southern towns, light southerlies and a few showers for the Catlins with 8 degrees, while it's light southerlies, some cloud and 9 degrees for Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. To the Central Lakes, light winds and some cloud here with 11 degrees in Queenstown, Wanaka and Alexandra, while Te Anau can expect 9 degrees. To the northern towns, light southerlies and showers later on the coast with 10 degrees in Timaru and Oamaru. Inland, light winds, some cloud and 12 degrees in Twizel and Omarama. In Ōtepoti, Dunedin, cloudy tonight with a low of 5, cloudy and cold tomorrow with a few light showers, moderate southerly winds, a high of 9 and a low of 6. Overcast and cold on Friday with light easterly winds, a high of 8 and a low of 5. And Waihopai and Invercargill, showers developing tonight with a low of 6. Cloudy tomorrow with a few showers clearing later in the day with moderate southeasterly winds, a high of 8 and a low of 3. Becoming fine and sunny on Friday with light winds, a high of 11 and a low of -1. That's all for our news this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and you can follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube to be notified of southern news as it happens. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.